I'm here with Brandon. This is Brandon Mclean. He's taking part in the gallery at Sam Flax. Brandon, thanks for taking a few minutes and talking with SamFlaxOrlando.com. I saw your work hanging. Your opening was this last Monday. Great show. So far there's been a few questions about your work, about your inspiration. My question is, why vintage?
I don't know. I think I've always just been attracted to it ever since I started, and I think it's something about the history of things and yeah, just having things having a story and texture to them. Just really worn, just worked over kind of images. Like I've always kind of been attracted to.
Well, I really admire this sort of collage style, layer upon layer. How are you able to come by a lot of this, especially the vintage stuff? Do you find yourself perusing thrift shops, things like that, old records? How do you get a lot of it?
Yeah, a lot of it is like from thrift stores or online. I bought stacks of like nature encyclopedias off eBay, and then I have a couple of filing cabinets I had gotten, I guess about 3 years ago now, from like an old illustrator that he must have did clippings every day from newspapers, magazines from the 40s up until like the early 90s. And he had them itemized in file folders like children's hands, cardinals, foxes. And I've gone through that for the last 3 years, and I still have tons.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was the find of like my life pretty much.
So we see where your art is now. Tell us a little bit about the progression. What did you start out doing? How long ago did you know that you wanted to create?
I guess it was probably around 2000. I was probably 19, and just started out with like a lot of journal stuff and kind of glue books, and then like just some abstract paintings and collage on like handmade canvases and wood, and then it's kind of evolved, and I don't know, it's just always been a process, and I still don't think I've figured out anything or reached any point that I want to reach yet.
So do you find yourself going to a lot of other artists' shows here locally?
I have, yeah. I like to, support. I think it's a pretty small community, so it's cool to support each other.
Yeah, well, I know. Take us through a little bit of creating a piece, mixed medium. What materials are you using in your pieces? I mean, we have a lot of vintage clippings. It seems like there's a lot of meaning in different pieces. Take us through the process just a little bit as far as what you're applying to a canvas.
Yeah, it usually just starts with like the found paper and just kind of build up the layers and texture. Like I think the texture is really important to me, and sometimes the images I want them to show through and have play a role.
Yeah. Do you go in with an idea and then find your pieces to create it, or do you see an object or a picture and then create it?
I don't know. The layering process is kind of just it's something you just work on. You don't think about it. It just kind of lets your mind kind of wander, and then, but when I find like the main image I kind of want to focus on, that's kind of when the piece sort of comes together, I think. And then sometimes those behind the scene images like end up working, or sometimes they don't.
Well, it's certainly nice seeing your pieces hung at the gallery at Sam Flax in a grouping like that. As you sort of stroll and stand in front of each one, you're really, I found several of them to be very meaningful, and I found myself sort of looking at them for quite a long time. So seeing them all together in one big room was a real treat. And after this, your show is finishing at Sam Flax on the 5th, so you're up for another couple of weeks almost. And then after that, I know that you have a show at Halo Salon. That's in Alden, down Virginia and Princeton area. That's on the 18th.
Yeah.
They're doing big shows down there.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking forward to that. I was impressed with the way you laid your website out with all of these different little categories. One was called installation. And can you tell us about that photo? For those of you watching this, it's simply a photo of a big wooden piece out by a lake built up. What was that? How did you build that?
I used to live at a wakeboard camp called the Projects out in Bithlo, and that was an old rail that they had built like years ago, and I actually did that in 2007. It was just a lot of found wood because we built a lot out there, so there was just random scrap, and I spent a few days out there just sort of nailing stuff together, and
well, it turned out looking really, really cool. You know, as I'm filming this, I'm really hoping that we'll be able to cut and paste that photo in so all the viewers can watch it as well.
Yeah, I need to take an updated shot of it because I go out there now and it's like sun bleached and like moldy, and it
looks even cooler.
Yeah.
Well, your website that I'm referencing is BrandonMclean.com. And Brandon, thank you so much for joining SamFlaxOrlando.com.
Sure, thank you.